No, I'll do it.
All right.
Oh, I saw a bunch of our like homies in the chat over
Here
the
we go.
weekend. Okay.
I think we're live.
Ooh.
Hopefully. It says we're
What
live.
chat?
Let's go. Alrighty, guys. We're still waiting for one more, but hopefully he'll jump in here any minute now. He told me he was running just a tad late. But regardless, we're here for episode 40. Oh, and I already hear background noise, and that's my fault. I'm going to already blame myself for that.
We got.
But
It might be me. Let me make sure.
no, it's me. It's me. I already fixed it. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
There we go. We got some people in the chat already. It's good to see everyone here.
Caleb asked who called the comp time out on the stream starting.
I went in the wall. I'll take responsibility for that.
Yeah. Oh,
There he is.
wait a minute. There he is. He's on.
What up?
We're already live.
Hello, sir.
Oh,
Oh,
and
he's-
I can't
he's
hear
out.
him. Uh-oh.
All right, leave and come back. Fix your thingy.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, no. Today is Long Beach. We are going to be in Long Beach next Tuesday, so I couldn't really promise a stream. We're probably still going to be doing media day during stream hours next Tuesday. So I was like, you know what? They released the brackets yesterday. Today is a great day to be doing Long Beach stream. And luckily, we had an amazing guest that was available to come on eventually once he figures out whatever he broke. And we're actually going to, get this show on the road because Long Beach is always chaos. I feel like it's always one of the hardest events to drive. And I can't hear you, Reader. Hey, buddy.
They say third time is the charm.
Oh, I thought I heard something for a second. Then you
I did hear a fuzz. I
hear-
did hear a little fuzz.
heard a fuzz, but now I don't hear anything.
And not my fuzz.
This is why we usually have people come in before the show starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I heard that loud and clear, and I felt it too.
Yeah. We'll get him on here in a sec. But again, let's start off with the first question that I posed in the chat. And that is, do you guys think we are going to have a buy run in top 32? Because I am almost 100% thinking we're going to have buy runs in top 32 just based on math. We only will have 33 drivers there. We'll get into how they picked the one driver that is eliminated, which I feel like is kind of weird how they did it.
There's only 33 registered drivers for Long Beach.
There's 34 total drivers. That includes Vaughn.
Yeah, so without Vaughn,
It's 33. So,
Wow.
last week on Tuesday, I kind of went off because I was quite annoyed with that setup because the last thing I want is buy runs. I don't like buy runs. They ruin the show for me. And the fact that we're going to probably have a buy run in top 32, either someone's not making it because the car is not finished, or we're at least getting 2 accidents in practice or the 16 seating bracket.
Yeah.
Someone's blown an engine, and someone's putting it hard into the wall where they're not going to be able to fix it. You already know it's going to happen.
Which, we don't want it to happen for the record. I want if it was a clean event, nobody in the wall, I'd be like, okay, put it down in the history books. This is amazing. But it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. The way the track's designed, it's really gnarly. It's an interesting entry. Somebody's going in the wall. That's just how it is,
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the way the cookie crumbles.
And it's always a bummer because I say this all the time about Long Beach. I'm like, it's always a bummer that this is the first round of the year. Well, because it's probably one of the most destructive rounds,
Yeah.
And we'll get to some of the guys' comments here in the chat, but just I want this chat or this thing to go minimize, but in order to minimize it, I have to close the poll, which doesn't help me. So they said, Phil here, they said they will backfill if there's people ready from seating. My point, Phil, is that we're not going to have anyone to fill the gaps because there's only 33 drivers. And that's
Man,
if
we're
all of
kicking
them
the
show
pants
up.
for that one dude.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. We can do a backfill if we need, but the problem is you need the drivers for the backfill.
I have a sinking feeling that we're not even going to have a full field when they show up anyway, just because of someone's not going to make it. It's just, that's how it is every year.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. I know guys are still putting their cars together, or trying to at least. And the other thing is like, it's the first event of the year. There's usually one catastrophic failure, at least. And then it's Long Beach. Likelihood of someone bending their chassis up to where they can't run the rest of the weekend is very likely. And like you said, we don't want that to happen, but it's just the reality of the sport and how it is. And with their whole, like, I saw the interview with Ryan Sage and Jacob Gens that actually went up right after our show on Tuesday. I think that one was put up on Wednesday, that interview. And what they were saying is like, they didn't want like drivers, like wild card drivers, which is what I would like to do, because I think that is a way to make this whole series interesting. But their whole problem was like, well, people are here for the whole year. They paid all this money to drive the whole series. They don't want someone coming in for one round and messing up their whole bracket. And to that I say, well, then beat them. You know, like,
dude,
like,
yes.
Well, like here's the thing. We had all kinds of big name drivers come into DMEC, and hardly any of them made any noise because DMEC is that good.
Or is the tire that good?
No, but the drivers. You know what I'm saying? So, like...
A little bit, yeah.
You there, buddy?
Yeah.
You forgot to remind me that you had to copy the link and put it in the browser if you try to get to it on your phone.
Yeah.
I gave up on my laptop because it wouldn't recognize the microphone. Technology shit. It's all shit.
Can you go sideways? Can you flip it sideways? There you go, buddy.
Is that better?
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
What are you guys talking about, dude?
I'm just still crying about the driver count and how likely we're going to have bye runs in top 32.
Nate's pit.
I didn't actually realize until now that there are only 34. Well, I'm only counting 33.
Yeah.
Because one still doesn't count. I am excited, though, to eventually hear the turbo noises on that RY45, but otherwise.
With the risk of sounding like an asshole, to your point, Nate, what's the difference between adding in a wild card and what Vaughn's doing? Is he not just like pre-applying wild card for 2 rounds? Like, I love Vaughn, by the way. Like, not a hater. I'm just curious.
No, they're
he essentially is.
Yeah, I mean that's technically there's technically no difference. Obviously, FD, and this is kind of where they're picking and choosing what they want to do here, almost like what's the word, like they're going back on what they say, because like they're like, yeah, we don't want to bring in wild cards to mess up the championship, but then you come in and bring in Vaughn to come mess up the championship, and it's like you're kind of being hypocritical here. Like, I get it, he's a champion, but like there are other championship level drivers out there. Like, what if Travis wanted to come drive Seattle or something, you know, bring out all red and kind of mess some people up? Like, what like, how cool would that be? I think that would be sick, you know.
Spend 15 grand and crash my shit for the weekend and go home.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I thought about it last year. It was definitely like almost a process, and I was like, the car's too pretty and I'm trying to sell it, so not gonna happen.
Yeah. So,
but would have been fun though.
Yeah, and like for them, one of the things they said was like, if you have less drivers, you can do more exciting venues. To that, I say I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, because so far, I have yet to see some major, what's the word? Like I guess improvements on venues in the last 5 years. In terms of how cool they are, you know, like
Chuck's goofy ass has a point in the chat. He says that Vaughn registered for the whole season and they can't force him to show up. I don't know how true that is.
That's true.
He really paid for every single
Yep.
season
Yep.
event.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Damn, dude.
He's got the money. He's fine.
do you know how much? Do you know how much entry fees are for the year?
No clue.
It's like when you pre-buy the season ahead of time, it ends up to be like $800 a round.
Yeah,
wow.
it's not that bad.
So it's literally like pennies for a program like that. So someone like that can afford to just like spend the $7,500
Yeah.
or whatever,
Damn.
and can just be like, yeah, whatever, you know.
Too
So
rich for my
it is definitely like a cheap barrier to entry from a professional motorsport standpoint goes. But yeah,
For sure.
I think they would. I think the way around it is you have to register for the whole season. Like if you're going to only show up for a few, they want you to on paper say you committed to the whole thing, and then you just do what you want. I mean, there's been drivers that show up for
Yeah.
the first few rounds, disappear, and then come back for the last couple rounds. That happens like every single season.
Yeah.
So
And like,
they're
what
used
if
to
that?
it.
And if that
Okay.
happens this year, we're not gonna have a full field.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, it was the same COVID year, like 19 and 20 or 20 and 21 or something. There was a couple years where it was like there was regularly 3 buy runs,
Yeah.
sometimes 4, which really sucked for the 32. But it comes down to like the state of the industry and how the marketing budgets are, and obviously these drivers come and go because everyone's not made of money. So like you get some years where like especially like election years where people don't know where shit's going to go, like left
Yep.
or right, people, all these companies are pulling back and then they cut budgets because they want to like make sure that they're good for the following year, and then you get like a loss of driver count. It's like it sucks that that's the cycle because like as a driver our business relies off of how well other businesses do. So like
Yeah.
if our sponsors businesses don't do good, then they don't have any marketing budget and we don't get to go racing. So it sucks that it's reliant on that, but it's like the harsh reality for a lot of it.
Exactly. And I mean, it kind of, from my point of view, I put some of that on Formula Drift to either better educate drivers on getting their decks out there and getting these drivers budget, or helping them putting them in scenarios where they are having good chances to get budgets, because like we kind of see a huge drop off in you get like the top 10 guys probably are pretty well secure, but then you get this middle pack where it's like you guys are fighting for table scraps, you know. And it's like some of that's education, some of it's on the driver itself for not putting the work in on the marketing side, but then I think some of it also comes on FD's side in properly marketing some of these drivers, or the other drivers, the lower end drivers that might not see a whole lot of screen time, and pushing some of them, as well as obviously their big main guys, but also, you know, educating them. Like how does FD talk to sponsors, you know? Like why wouldn't you like have like a meeting or some classes with some of the drivers, or at least give them an open forum to be like, hey, if you want to talk to us about trying to get set up with companies, or like how is the best process that we do, so that, because at the end of the day, FD is nothing without their drivers.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
You're not wrong. I just don't think they're there yet. It's still like a baby series if you think about it.
So in FD's defense, I will say that they are very good about being as open with the drivers as possible behind closed doors with how to develop a program, because obviously the more professional the drivers show up to the track, the better the series looks. So it benefits not only the drivers, but it benefits the series as well. But I think a lot of it is you have this kind of like weird conundrum, right? Because FD is one of the most accessible professional motorsports in the world as far as like cost of entry. So, which is great because you get the small guys that can compete with the big guys, and that's like still has some of that grassroots mentality, and like you give the little guy a chance, and like that part is super sick. But a lot of the times that little guy either doesn't have the time, energy, or resources to grow a program into a professional enough team to where they can make it a full-time gig. And you can't always fault FD for that, but it comes down to like do you heighten the barrier of entry where the team has to be like gnarlier to come in for some reason, but then you knock out the little guy? Or do you let this happen and then you will always have the lower level super budget team that's competing against the RTRs and the Papadakis and the, like, do you want the big separation or do you want a smaller field? Like,
Yep.
it's hard to like pick and
Totally.
choose. And I think FD,
Yeah.
I think that's their biggest struggle because they don't want to cut off the little guy because the little guy is, you go to all these tracks and the hometown hero is always the dude that
Yeah.
like I like any of the rounds that aren't Seattle, like, even the drivers intros, it'd be like, oh, it's Travis Reeder or Dylan Hughes or whatever, and everyone just like crickets, but then we show up at Seattle and they're like Bridget Cosbo and they're like, yeah, and then they're like Dylan Hughes, Travis Reeder, and they're like, yeah, like our local boy, dude, fuck him up, like,
Yeah,
so like
totally.
if you get rid of those lower level guys, then you kind of lose some of that as well because there's always
Yeah,
guys that root for the underdog, and FD is literally an underdog sport because it comes down to so
totally.
much of the driver, but it's hard.
I
100%.
appreciate them not like taking away the lower guys and taking it farther away from grassroots because that's one of my favorite parts about the sports anyway. So
100%.
Yeah, it is hard though when you show up and like the lower level guy like takes the left rear corner off the car on the wall and is like scrounging to like put the spares together or doesn't have them, and they're like
yeah.
welding together some shit, and then like they're a liability. Like I've been that liability before where I'm like, the person I'm battling, they're like, are you good? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm like, we're gonna find out. And he's like, great, that gives me a lot of confidence. And I'm like, good luck, bud.
Right. Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Like, I like that we get lower, I don't know what's lower budget teams in here because it does give you an underdog story though, and
Yeah.
you also have to have personalities from all walks of life. You have to have the Jonathan Hurst of the world, and then you'll have the Frederick Osbos of the world, and they're kind of two completely different cultures, or with the ways that they kind of present themselves on a spectrum. But I think that'll resonate with more people as well. Like some people are going to like the professionalism of Frederick Osbo and the racing pedigree and the Papadakis and all that kind of stuff. And then some people are going to like the more wild side and the side that Cash kind of brings to the sport as well. So I would like having a good range of drivers because it opens up someone to cheer for. But again, you also have to know some of the driver's backstory, or at least get to know the driver at least a little bit, or have some way of learning more about these drivers to really become a fan of them. And that's another step that I think FD can probably do better at, is marketing the drivers and telling their story, because FD, let's be honest, is the one with the big platform for a lot of these smaller drivers. So but moving on, we have quite a bit to get to on Long Beach, the event itself. It's a quite intimidating event. But before we get into actually talking about the event, the poll, I'm going to end the poll right here. And the poll was 79% people said no. We are not going to have a full top 32 versus 20 people said yes, that we are going to have a full top 32 for Long Beach. And I was on the no side. But it's interesting to see what other people are thinking on the confidence that they have right now in FD to bring us a full field. But which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And we kind of got to make do with what we got. So going into the actual Long Beach event, Travis.
3 byruns right here.
Well, okay, so this
in the seating bracket.
Yeah, it's a seating bracket. I wasn't talking
different,
about this.
but I know. But it's just.
But before we get to the seating bracket, I actually want to talk about the event and the track itself of Long Beach. So we got 5 new guys, or technically 4 guys that have not, because Daigo's driven Long Beach. So 4 guys that have never driven Long Beach before. What's it like coming into a track like this? If you're a new guy and you've never driven it.
Super intimidating. You can't see the first turn at all on initiation. Also, like, there's nowhere to bail. It's a ping pong. It's a like ping pong fucking wall. I don't know how to explain. Like, everywhere you like, when you're teaching someone how to drift, like being an instructor as well. Like, I've it's hard for people that are learning to not focus on the danger zones when they're drifting, and naturally you gravitate towards those danger zones because you drive subconsciously, you always drive where you're looking. So I tell people to like focus on your points, focus, like, you need to be staring at the place you want to drive. But every time I would tell someone, "Hey, I'm putting this cone at the inside of the track, there's a pothole here, you will break a wheel, don't go near that cone." Every time I said that, guess where they went?
Straight
Right.
to the cone.
Like, right towards the fucking cone. So the thing is, like, with Long Beach, you're like, yeah, here's all your marks, but the marks you have to get to are also the danger zones.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you might be
Oh,
staring
gosh.
at them. So you notice the people who are really intimidated end up on the inside, but the dudes who are really committed are in the wall.
Yep.
So, like, it's really hard to be in between there. And obviously, there's no room to bail. There's like a little bit of tires at the judge's wall if you're lucky enough to crash before the concrete starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they have the little
Uh,
tiny pocket
yeah.
right before it.
Yep. Yeah. Aim for the pocket, because if you get
Yeah.
to the left of it, you're smoked. Been there. It's like, it's really hard. And like the first time I drove it, we showed up with the electric car, and they
Oh.
denied us. And my S13 was in the trailer as a backup. So I hadn't even driven that car that year at all. And we just threw tires on it and just sent it down the straightaway. And I hadn't even like tested that car.
Yeah.
And you think about it, that shit happens all the time because us as drifters, we are not prepared, dude. And it's not even most of the time our fault. It's like the universe's fault, I feel like, because every time I prepare ahead of time, I'm like, I'm gonna be 3 months early, I'm gonna test, I'm gonna do all this, that, and the other. That's when the engine doesn't show up. There's a
Yep.
parts hold and I don't get my motor, or my shocks don't get back in time, or there's a back, or my transmission gets lost in shipping to go
Yep.
get refreshed, or like this or that, or there's a time, like,
Global
there's always
pandemic.
Or COVID
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
exactly. I have never once showed up to Long Beach with a car tested, ready to go, comfortable, out of the trailer, I'm good to rip. It's always been, I fired this car up on the dyno 2 days before, made a dyno hit, did a burnout down the street, loaded it in the trailer, went to Long Beach. And that is literally 95% of FD drivers, pro, I don't care. Like, it doesn't even
Yeah.
matter if
Yeah.
you say it's not, it is. Like,
Yep.
top to bottom, it can be like the highest team on the list to the lowest team on the list.
Yeah.
Like 95% of them doesn't matter. They're rolling into Long Beach and they haven't tested.
100%. Well,
Yeah.
so yeah, you get the scary scenario of like bringing a brand new car. A lot of these guys will have either brand new cars or really refreshed cars, fresh
Yep.
wraps, fresh body work, and now you get to go destroy it all.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's unfortunate because that's just the reality, and obviously you can't change the time of the event because it coincides with the other series of racing that also happens throughout that same
Yep.
time period in Long Beach. So you kind of are stuck with the time period that you got to run the series in. Because like I've always said, it'd been a sick last round because then no one would care. But the reality is
Yeah.
like people do care, and there's budget limits, and it's like you got to last the rest of the year. I mean, look at Mike Power last year. Pretty much totaled his car in
2 years
Long
in a row.
Beach and
Yep.
just killed his budget for the year. And
Yep.
and it's tough because it's like that's just, and we talked about earlier, the lower budget teams, some of them can't handle that. And
Yeah. That's
But-
where it makes it hard to progress as a driver, because I struggle with that. Was like, if I crash this car, I have to fix it and I have to pay for it. So like, do you drive softer to create longevity
yeah,
so that you can make it to the end of the year? Or no one wants to do that because then
Yeah.
you look like a bitch because you're not driving hard, or you're
Yeah,
not
you're
driving
not
to your
winning.
potential. So you hate yourself for holding yourself back, because that what if is always playing in your head. Like, what if I actually drove harder? Or you have to drive hard and then hope that like something like that doesn't happen, and it's drifting. So every time you drive hard, something's going to happen.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but-
sometimes you lose a battle because you didn't drive hard enough, you know?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's like if you're not putting 1,000% in, you're never gonna beat some of these bigger dudes anyway.
Yep.
Mhm. Yep.
Done that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
It's a tough scenario, but eventually people do find a way, and they find a way to do well. So let's actually start getting into the seating bracket, and the first technical thing I want to go over is how they actually decided who the one unlucky person's going to be, and that is the technically lowest qualified or person in the bracket. If they lose their battle, they're out, technically, if we have a full 32 field. So worst case scenario, it's one person right now. And that guy right now, looking at the list, the first guy that it doesn't end at bye run is Federico Sceriffo. So if I'm reading this correctly, Federico Sceriffo is the guy that needs to win. Everyone else is in. If Federico Sceriffo wins, then the next guy that needs to win is Ryan Litteral. And then it just keeps going down the line. Daniel Stuckey needs to win. So it's, and obviously this was all done randomly, which is, always fun to have your fate decided randomly.
Is this populated
fair way.
randomly, or is it populated based on season points previous?
It would have to be randomly because the three guys from Prospec aren't last.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought it was anyway. They thought it would be most fair because then you get into the conversation we were having before where it's like once you do good, you're like doing good the whole season kind of thing. Like you finished really well last season, you're automatically in the top here. And then, if you finish poorly, then you're automatically in the bottom. Like you're already off to a bad start. At least with what they're doing here, it's kind of like fair and square.
Yeah, so that's just unlucky on Federico's part. He just like drew the straw.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like pulling a pill, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
so my question is, let's say they run this seating bracket, right? And then at some point somebody either blows something up or gets in the wall, yada yada yada, or doesn't show up. Well, okay, and then it goes into the main bracket, but Federico loses his battle. Are they going to run bye runs in the main bracket?
No, that is the one change they made this year. Although I find it kind of a funny change, the fact that we don't have enough drivers to fill those spots now. So that was an issue last year because we had 5 or 6 guys that usually didn't end up making it into top 32. And they were always upset because there was bye runs in top 32. And then we had 5 drivers literally sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
So this year, they're like, okay, we'll change that. Well, the highest qualified loser gets to jump into top 32. Cool. But now we don't have drivers to fill those spots is what I was kind of annoyed at. I was like, okay, so now you tried to solve the solution to this problem, but now you have a new problem that needs a solution, and it's like, it's kind of silly. But yeah, so technically if someone doesn't make it into top 32 due to, I think, I forget what the cutoff point is, but I think if they post the bracket, I was trying to understand what they were saying because Jake had a meeting, or sorry, not a meeting, interview with Ryan Sage yesterday that he posted, and I was trying to watch it and understand some of what they were saying. But yes, technically, if there is a bye run, the next highest qualified person, which would be technically if Sceriffo lost, would be him, would jump into top 32. And good on FD for changing that because I appreciate them at least listening to the drivers and doing their part in this aspect to make a good show.
It's really for the show in that aspect too.
Correct.
I forget really what event it was last year, but it just seemed like it was just bye run after bye run, like either mechanical failure, someone not being there, or whatever. It
was Seattle.
We had multiple times where we had 2 guys in the seating bracket that didn't show up, and they go against each other, and it's a bye run, and there's literally nothing you can do about it other than pass on bye run to the top 32. And it was like, okay, this is dumb.
Yep.
And everyone said it was dumb. And then the drivers, and the way Sage said they went about it is they asked all the drivers, was like, hey, what do you think about this? And all the drivers said, yes, we would like to not have bye runs in top 32. Because let's be honest, that's a free ride for James Dean every event to get into top 16.
That's right.
Yeah. And also though, if you ask any driver, none of them even want to buy run in the 32 because it. Well, most of them don't, but it's like then you're super cold. You've never had a
Yeah.
battle, and now not only have you not run the seating bracket because you're outside of that threshold, but then you get a buy in the 32, so you make another run, and your first battle is a 16, which is most likely a banger, and you have to win it if you have a chance to make it to the end. So your first battle at the gate is like an absolute heater, and you have no practice for that.
Yeah.
So that
True.
makes it not as fun either because you want to, I don't know, as stressful as the top 32 is, when you win a top 32 battle and make it to the 16, you feel that much better. And then after opening
Yeah.
ceremonies for 16, you don't have any like stress or anything anymore. Like you don't
Yeah.
really have to like worry about it. But
Gotcha.
yeah.
Interesting. Well,
For what it's worth, I think that we don't have a lot of those maybes, and like no hate or shade to those guys, but there was a few guys on the list last year that you're like, okay, well, I don't know if they're going to show up. I don't see any of those names that could be maybes. I think they have a pretty good shot, but you know.
right. So you notice that they didn't put Vaughn on here because Vaughn probably told him, "Hey, I'm not going to make this round." So they didn't
Right.
go through the challenge of at least putting him on here, even though he technically paid for a full season. So that's just another common sense move that FD made to be like, okay, hey, he's told us he's not coming. We're not gonna mess around by putting him on a list for no reason, to put him
Yeah.
on a list. So that's another common sense thing that FD did that is good. All right,
Good.
let's actually get into the actual bracket because we
Cool.
do have a good amount of buy runs here, but there are some fun battles to also kind of fantasy battles to kind of talk about that are going to happen here very soon. And I think we kind of hit obviously Andy's get the buy run. So congrats to Andy. I think he's got that one. I'll be honest. Although you never know.
Long Beach, never know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
He would. Let's just say he wouldn't be the first person to lose to buy run. By the way, it's happened.
Yeah.
Probably I think more
It
than
comes
once.
out of nowhere on you.
Dude. Yeah. Every once in a while, someone can't make it to the line, and then buy run wins. It's incredible. But
Incredible.
Damn it, Joe.
let's go ahead and talk about this first battle we got here because it's a fun one. We got Daigo Saito versus Jack Shanahan. Probably the most exciting battle. It's a bummer that it's the first one we're going to talk about. But Daigo Saito versus Jack Shanahan.
I had a quick question. Are they going to make these drivers run their buy runs? Because if not, then the very first battle you have of the entire season is Saito and Shanahan.
I mean, probably,
That's
but
kinda
again,
crazy.
it's just a formality thing, I would assume, because technically you still have to beat by run. You have to pull to the
All right.
line, and
So we have a Hately appetizer, and then immediately into Saito Shanahan.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's
gotcha.
nuts.
Yeah, I mean, if I was someone with a buy run, I would want to take it anyways because you
Yeah.
only get Friday practice.
True.
There's no Thursday driving at Long Beach. You get to do like if you're invited to media day on Tuesday, you can drive that and you get some practice there, but that's only like 10 guys.
Yeah.
And then the rest of like 1.5 hour session, I think, Friday morning, and then straight into
Like
the
warm-ups and
battles.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Nuts.
get like a 30-minute warm up and then into the battles. So I would definitely be taking my buy run. And if they told me I couldn't, I'd be pissed because like I need that extra seat time.
Yeah,
100%.
fair enough.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I'm excited because okay, I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Brandon, shout out to Brandon because he's the first one that kind of put the opinion out there of like Daigo's probably not doing well this year in his opinion,
Yeah.
and I kind of agree with him.
For sure.
I just think FD has changed so much since he was last.
Listen, he
in
was the
the
first
series.
one with the big horsepower car back in the day, and like
Mhm.
it was cool. It's like a nice little like knick-knack on the shelf for us for FD, but like everybody now has that power, and now he lacks, and like probably what Brandon was saying is just like the skill that everybody else has now developed over the year.
Well,
You dr-
for me, it was like the recent events that have watched him in. He's usually pretty like one of the faster guys still. Does solid leads and stuff like that, but his chases have always been like really aggressive and not smooth, like very lurchy, a lot of the times lower angle, and a lot of that stuff you can't really get away with nowadays in FD, and because obviously pretty much everyone, especially in the top part of the field, is a great chaser, I would say, and is going to be on someone's door, and they're going to make it look good. So, what his hot take was, he thinks he's finishing 20 plus at the end of the season. I was thinking 15 to 20 range is what I was thinking at the end of the season. And actually, the chat when we asked this on Tuesday, they were like, yeah, probably 10 to 20 was where they were thinking he was going to finish. But I posted a clip, and everyone in the comments was like, oh, he's amazing. He's like fighting for a championship. Like, everyone was upset at Brandon for his take on Daigo, and I was like, guys, this isn't 2015 anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
not to mention,
I just don't think he's gonna run away with it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're good. He also had a car that was like ahead of its time in the sense of like he made a lot more power than everybody else, and he was on like the original Achilles when it came out, which was like the cheater of all cheater tires at the time, because everyone was on basically like a 300 treadwear street tire at that point, and then Achilles comes out. So like he definitely had the upper hand back then with that stuff. But he's also not driving a car that he's, I guess, used to. Like, he's going to be driving one of Jerry's cars. So it's like, how comfortable is he going to be with that thing? You know,
Exactly.
The setups are different, the tires different.
Well, to
There's
be fair, I think the car side's going to be somewhat evened up with Jack Shanahan not being the most. What's the word? Is pleased the right word right now with his BMW 1 Series that he's driving? Or he didn't seem too excited about it.
Is that what he's driving this year?
Yeah, he's driving. I think it's Rome's basically car that he was running last year.
Okay.
I thought he was just like a pretty monotone kind of dude. That's what I was getting. But maybe you could say that he wasn't excited. I don't know.
Yeah, he was like talking about there was some lag and I don't know. I'm not sure he's sold on the car yet. And I'm curious to see if they're going to get that thing sorted and set up by Long Beach. Looked like they were still doing a lot of work from after the WiseFab event and stuff like that. So again, it's not like he's driving in what he always drives in either. So you could probably make that argument for both of them. But just in terms of driving, I think Jack is going to, for me, kind of have the edge on this battle. I don't know. You guys can let me know what you guys think. Chat's looking like 85% Shanahan over Saito. So that's kind of interesting. But curious on your guys' thoughts.
I don't know if I could pick one, because what I had said when Brandon had brought it up on that episode was, I just don't think it's going to be as of a gimme for Saito as everyone thinks it is, because of all the reasons we talked about. Like, FD is a completely different animal now than it was back when he was the champion, and he hasn't driven with that particular series in a lot of years. I think he's going to have it a lot harder than everyone thinks. I don't think it's going to be a straight up done, right? So, I don't know. I think it's going to be a darn good battle, and it could be anybody's, to be honest with you.
I think Shanahan drives too much with James Dean to not just take the win on this. And considering where Saito's been driving, I think we've talked about it before. Like, I know I've at least mentioned it. People ask, like, FD Japan, to me, just isn't as competitive with the list of drivers as what we have here in our FD. And, you know, it's been quite a few years, like I said, and he's probably just going to be like, almost like in a world of shock of like, holy shit. Like, obviously he's not shocked. Like, anybody could see like what we're doing over here, but like to then come back over here and then perform and do it again. And it's like different tire, different car, different mentalities out there, like just all different types of things. I don't think that he is going to really hold much of a flame to what Shanahan's probably going to be able to do.
Absolutely.
Also, I don't want to like just say because he's a Shanahan, you know, he's his own guy. He's not Connor. They're two separate drivers with two separate styles, at least from what I can see. You know, I don't want to you put that kind of pressure on him.
I don't know.
But-
I'm pretty confident in Jack here. Like Jack, I think's proven himself over the last couple of years to be a serious driver. Obviously, for his Achilles heel, I feel like has always been emotional. I feel like he's a little bit more. Connor does a better job at checking his emotions in some battles than Jack does, but in terms of the driving, I think it's 100% there. So I'm really curious to see how this one goes, and I'm gonna quick end the poll here, and it stayed 83% Shanahan, 17% Saito. So we'll see if we're right. You know, that's the fun part about this is we get to go now see how wrong we were. Next one, and this is technically the most important battle, and that is Hansen versus Sceriffo, because technically Sceriffo is the first guy on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and it's like, who are you guys thinking? Because honestly, this is a tough one for me because neither one of them, I think, had a great year last year.
True.
Well, this is where the start of Rudy's unfortunate demise was.
Right.
Where he shapeshifted the entire existence of the car.
Yeah. Rudy was in the wall a couple times in Long Beach last year. Fede's been in the wall and on fire here.
Yeah.
Not saying that's like not but like they both have had unfortunate paths at the track. I know like the last round that I saw Fede drive, I know they had like found some speed in the car and like had a little more comfort in it. The last like couple rounds I saw him drive, I think it was 23 or 23, I think.
Yeah.
But it's still obviously a crapshoot. The Ferrari's still big and heavy and hard to handle from what I understand. And an S13 is still an S13. I think it just is going to come down to who's the more prepared on vehicle setup and who gets more comfortable in their head. Honestly,
I think that car shot him in the foot last year too, where it was like a smaller contact and it broke something in the front end, and then it just turned into like a nightmare to then get it replaced. You know, some control arm or tie rod or some sort of thing that an S chassis has bountiful of, compared to a 599.
Rudy had said that he just wasn't even sure on tires for this round. So if Rudy hadn't have told us that on the last time we all chatted on the stream, I would have said, Rudy, just because he's not doing Prospec Pro this time, he can focus on one thing. It's not like fresh new into pro. He might have a little bit of a leg up against Federico, but I don't know. Like he literally told us, he's like, I might be on scrubs. So
yeah.
Long Beach is the only track that works at, by the way, because there's no tire wear at Long Beach. So like that's the only round that you can get away with that.
See, I didn't know that, and Long Beach and Seattle are the only two I haven't been to, so I have no in-person experience either.
Yeah, so like the cool thing about Long Beach is tire. It seems to me that tire is not a big deal at Long Beach. Long Beach and I feel like New Jersey are pretty good equalizers when it comes to tire. Long Beach and New Jersey, but I don't know. You can tell me if I'm correct there, Travis. On like
the track's just short, but also like it's so smooth, and the grip level is very low. Like when I was doing media days in my car, I could do like 5, sometimes almost 6 laps on a pair of tires in the pro car.
Wow.
At Long Beach, just because like the wheel speed differential is not super crazy, or at least my setup wasn't. The track was smooth most of the time. Like you're driving in that rubber that's built up at the edge of the track, and that's why it's all slow and shitty. And you see people like they'll like drive into the zone, and if they're shallow, they'll like get close, and then as soon as they get into that rubber, they just like go back window deep. So like the guys that don't crash there are the ones that drive the wide line initially and actually take grip out of the car. And like a lot of drivers think about it the other way, where they think they need to like put a bunch of grip in the car to be fast at Long Beach, but really all that does is make you drive off the wall, and it chops the turns, and it makes it worse for you.
Yeah.
But slower is definitely faster at Long Beach, in my opinion. Like taking the forward drive out of the car and being able to just float and stay on the gas and like hit your marks is going to win the battle every time.
100%.
But yeah, tires just you don't have to worry about tire degradation at all. Like not even a problem.
Good news for Rudy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, Nick Novak in the chat's actually like they completely rebuilt the Ferrari, and I think I did see that like they made some pretty big changes to it. So that's the thing though, is when you completely redo the car, it's like that's either gonna work out or it might not. So hopefully it does for him. But again, I'm gonna reiterate, this is technically the most important battle of the seating bracket. And then it gets less important as we get to the lower numbers. But
yeah, if Fetty
saying?
loses, he goes out, and then if Fetty wins, then everyone else is on the chopping block throughout
then the next
list.
guy, which is Litteral.
Yeah.
So looks like the chat's pretty high on Hansen though, which is pretty interesting. I'm gonna go with Hansen as well, although I'm not like a confident on that. So you guys can let me know.
I always would love to see Federico do well, because a Ferrari out there is great for business, you know.
Tis true.
It's really pretty.
And the sounds, you know, it's just a little bit different. But I also voted Hansen. I did vote Hansen.
Gotcha. All right, so it looks like everyone's picking Hansen here, unless anyone else has any other.
I'm staying in the middle, dude. Anything could happen.
Yeah, Mr. Fence Sitter over here. Okay.
Yeah,
Same, especially at Long Beach. Like literally anything.
Right, dude. So this next battle though, I'm pretty pumped for. Hopson versus Litteral, bro. Like, Litteral, I think is. Brandon's talked me into like sort of trying to believe in Litteral this year, and I don't know if I should believe him or not.
That's his boy. That's why.
Yeah, it is his boy, but he genuinely was ripping last year. But I don't know. This one's a toss up.
He told me he was running an LS this year.
I'm a fence sitter on this one.
I don't know if that happened.
Don't know.
Yeah,
don't play with me. Is he really?
I feel like he's still been like making content with the RB though. Maybe it's old.
I haven't seen enough. I've been asking questions. I always try to get into the gossip train, even though, you know, I'm just like washed up and removed now. But I always make the phone calls, and I couldn't get any answers, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd spill them. But yeah, I didn't get any. I heard the LS thing, but I couldn't get enough confirmation to like believe that it was going to happen.
Dude, it'll be.
I can't believe that's true.
I mean, here's the thing: Litteral brings a working car to this.
Dude.
Litteral brings a working car to this. I have him over Hopson.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna build on that. Litteral is at the advantage if he brings a reliable car, because we know the boy can wheel. But remember when we were talking about Mustangs, there's like a certain point where they do like the figure it out. And as soon as they have the figure it out, they're like gnarly in that chassis. So if Hobson's got enough laps behind that car to be like comfortable and confident in it, he's gonna like take everybody to Spanktown. I just don't know if he does.
Hey, as long as they got the roll cage far enough away from his helmet this year.
I forget he is a tall boy, and they're recently engaged. Congratulations to those two as well. What? That's serious.
James Dean's technically taller, so I'm sure they did all kinds of funny business to make him fit in that thing.
Yeah, like, we're just gonna fold you in half. Is that okay? We'll just.
Yeah, it looks like the chat's kind of disagreeing with me on this one, but
are they?
Yeah, you guys all fence sitters.
It's a tough one. I don't know which way this is gonna go. Hopson, we know how he can drive, and Litteral last year was really being a bit more aggressive. So
I think he had some great battles at Irwindale too in that car, like
Orlando. Unfortunately, like where you were away, like that's where I was like, holy shit! I'm like this dude's doing crazy things. Like, holy cow. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We will genuinely see.
I will say, like, there isn't a single team that spends more, like, probably time, money, effort, energy on better developing a car than RTR. So you have no idea, like, you don't have any clue like what the car is going to be like when it comes out the
Yep.
next year, because you know they're going to change a bunch of stuff and test a bunch of stuff and
Oh yeah.
be like, be all over the place on trying to find any way to make the car better. So, I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but they're
Right.
going to find out. If any team's going to find out, they're going to find out. So Ben could come out with a car that's an absolute banger and like drives like an S chassis or
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever, or they could make a change and make it super fast, but also make it to where it's super hard to hold on to, and you never know what you're going to get. So
Yeah, his testing videos, like Phil had said in the chat, he does look pretty good. Obviously, that's from, it's an open oval course with just some cones set up and everything. But even when he was in tandem with James, it definitely like quick clips, but he did look pretty good in it. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna
the car needs to
we'll
stay like that though, and
we'll see.
that
Yeah,
was the
no
challenge
blowing rear
last
ends.
year. So
it's always the challenge at Long Beach, dude. It's always the challenge.
Exactly. So looks like chat said 71% Hopson, 29% Litteral. So I'm gonna disagree with the chat on this one, but that's a pretty decisive victory. Not gonna lie, on
Wow.
the chat's part. So that'll be curious to see how that one goes. Next up, we got Dimitri Brewski versus Byron. Congrats on the Byron there, bud. And then Battle of the Prospec guys. We got O'Sully versus Lemaire. This one, is going to be awesome. Like, their battles in Prospec were insane. So
Yeah, big army guy now.
yeah. So what I want to know is there going to be beef between the Air Force and the Army cars. That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Bystrack's got to get a Marines car though. Complete separate thing though. Like, he's the only one that's an actual was active.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
Anyways.
you just have like armed forces wars in the pits, dude.
Yeah.
You know how like some branches like talk shit about the other branch, like everyone's like,
Oh,
oh, the chair force or whatever,
Yeah.
they just start beefing in the pit, and then all of a sudden like all hell breaks loose.
I would be down for that.
It'd be fun. We'd have some fun. As long as it's on camera, that's all I care about. I just want to see it. But obviously the big caveat with this battle is going to be Tommy's bringing his new car. He does have some practice laps in it though. Obviously brought that to LZ World Tour. Was looking pretty solid in it.
It was sick. It sounds gnarly as hell.
Does it? How is it driving?
Given not his pro tire that he's going to be running, a big beefy boy. I mean, it looked aggressive. Like, watching that thing, like, the body panels are just so light too that this, like, when he blipped the throttle, you could genuinely see it like torquing, and I'm like, that is a rigid chassis right there. I'm like,
Right.
it was very, very mean sounding, looking. It looked fast, even for the road course at E-Town. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I told him he was crazy for doing it. And he said everyone told him he was crazy, but looks like he put it together. So
I did give him the props. I was like, dude, you did make me like a C7. I'm like, there you go. You and Matt Field now have made me like a C7 and a C8. I'm like, you take that as how you want. I'm like, you're the only ones.
You can make anything a drift car and make it cool, dude. I'm
Yeah.
convinced.
There's just, other ones I haven't been the biggest fan of.
Rad Dan has a C7, dude.
Does
even
he?
the 2J guy himself owns one.
He does.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, it's his little shop, little thing. Yeah, he's got it going on.
Mm-hmm. Little shop, little thingy.
He's got a few different of those.
Yeah.
So
What are your thoughts on the old C7 switch there, Travis?
I think I said this in the last did we talk about this the last event? I'm just like not. I'm not a fan. Like I like Corvettes, but as drift cars, I'm not really sold on them
Yeah.
just because I'm so spoiled by E36s and E46s.
Right.
I've just obviously in pro trim, if you do a front trans and all this stuff, like they're easier to service and like all that kind of stuff. But I've seen so many people like blow up stuff in the torque tube and it comes through the floor and breaks the radio, or like as soon as the diff breaks they're like have to body off the car, and then all of a sudden like front and rear subframes out, and then you're like split, like it's like doing head gaskets on your Power Stroke, like the body has to come off the frame
Yep.
type of thing, and I'm just like, oh, that looks like a nightmare. And the like frame rails don't look very strong because there's just like two guys out the front.
Yep.
Like that's what you get. And like I've seen them bend. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to like shit on the Corvette thing. They're
Right.
super cool. They're obviously fast, and they're like
Yeah.
like real, like
Yeah.
they're based on race car shit. They're
Right.
double
But
wishbone
for me,
front and rear, and like
yeah.
it just is that car's probably like a lot more expensive to replace parts on body
Yeah.
wise and stuff than most. You can't like hit the wrecking yard and get a core support
Right.
for $40. Like I can throw a rock in any direction from my house and get like any part I need for an E46 for like $15.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Well, like, to be fair, the S15 that he was driving beforehand wasn't necessarily the most cheap car to replace things on either, but that thing was hooked up. You watched him driving that thing. That thing was nasty. And the fact that he left it to go try an experimental chassis, it's just one of those things where it's like it's tough. It's tough for me to like want to think that would be a good idea, because that dude ripped in the S15.
It's the time to jump though, I feel.
Yeah.
Because like I went from the S13 and then I went to the E46 like right afterwards, or basically like my first year of pro on my own. But like you have this, like, do you build a car that everyone else has that you know is competitive and try to be competitive but have necessarily a boring chassis? Or do you build something cool and exciting that's different, like how Federico has the Ferrari? Obviously C7's not as outside the box as that, but like do you go and be like, okay, like I've proven myself, everyone knows I can rip, like I have a Prospec championship or whatever, and like now that I've proven I can drive, now do I step into something that's different and create some hype and buzz in this new car and like create some energy around the program instead of just showing up with an E46 like it seems like everyone is starting to do? Like I feel like if you were going to do a new car, this would be the time to do it.
Right.
So I don't think he's wrong for doing it by any means. And I think he knows the learning curve that's associated. But I mean, time will tell if it works out. But also, like, if he doesn't do as good, he's like, oh, everyone's going to be like, yeah, he's not comfortable with the car yet. And if he rips, then he's going to be like, oh, good for him. Like, there's no downside. You know what I mean?
That's true.
There's no negative of not doing good in that car.
100%. No, I agree. It's definitely really exciting to see. It looks like the chat's definitely going towards Lemaire on this one, which is, I don't know if I'm surprised with, because obviously O'Sully, I think I saw that he was running his Prospec car here, which I don't think is a big deal for Long Beach. You don't need super insane power for Long Beach to be competitive.
I didn't know he had another car. I thought the E46 was just the.
I thought
it
was the same thing, but I thought I saw a comment in the chat. Even if it is the Prospect car, it's still going to be competitive in Long Beach at least.
Yeah,
you only need like 650 wheel anyways for Long Beach.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Is all the Canadian fans in here. Ultimately,
yeah.
All the smack I was talking to him over the weekend at LZ Day.
Yeah. Nothing going on with Canada, so it's fine. Yeah. But no, it is interesting. I was gonna pick O'Sully just based on chassis familiarness. But I mean, I'm excited for this battle either way. It's gonna be a good time. And I know Travis needs to jump out at some point, so he can just jump out whenever he needs to jump out.
I'm thinking I just take you guys with me. I'll just post it up on the dash and just cruise down the freeway, and I can still rip.
As long as you don't crash, I'm cool with it.
Dude, I mean, no promises, but you know,
Wouldn't be the first time that we've seen a streamer recording and things not go well.
and crashing going down the freeway.
Yeah. At least you're not driving a McLaren, so there's that.
Nope. Instead, I'm driving a Corvette.
Oh shit! He's getting his jorts and his New Balances on.
Dude, yeah, the Nike Monarchs.
Okay.
Don't worry, dude. Got some Jorts Nike Monarchs. I'm gonna have a bucket hat in no time.
Oh,
Sounds like you're
boy.
putting the like the watch on real quick, like one of them big old
Some
silver thing.
Fake rolly, dude.
Yeah.
Fake rolly. All right, I'm ready to rip.
There you go. Oh gosh. All right.
And
well,
guess where I'm going? Guess where I'm going, dude? Going to play some golf.
What?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's,
in my Corvette.
he's gone straight. He's gone straight old man Corvette. It's all good.
Yeah,
man. It's all good.
we got Drift Addict in the chat saying we want Travis back, and I think this is going to answer your demands or begs to get him back. He is very happily golfing and driving his Corvette. Like
I'm just out, dude. I'm checked out.
he likes having money in his pocket. It's weird.
Oh, I still don't have that. Don't get it twisted, dude.
I was gonna say I was at Dick's this weekend and a golf shirt is $70. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I
Oh,
was trying
man.
to get something nice to wear to the first round. I'm like, looks like we're going with what we got.
Here you go, dude. Here you go.
Oh,
my
shit, a little
gosh.
C5 action.
Good old C5.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on and move on to this next battle here. I think so. Obviously, Derek Madison, lucky Derek, gets a bye run. Shout out to Derek. Hope he makes it. I know he's working on the car. Hope he makes it.
Oh, yeah, you
That's all
see
I'm gonna say on that.
his testing today was, we got double Travis.
Yeah, I haven't seen the testing yet.
Oh, well, it was pouring rain.
Ah,
So it was like straight puddles.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that much power and just doing nothing with it? Just like
I don't
Like-
even know if he actually, like, it was like such bad rain that I don't know if it was drivable in.
right. Well,
So,
that's the Midwest for you. So don't get your hopes up about weather there. All right. So, but on to the next battle is probably two guys with the most different driving styles that I can think of.
relatives, right?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
and they're also related. Would you look at that?
Yeah.
What a way for Mata to get his first battle in FD by battling his cousin, Daniel Stuckey. And but I feel like they're very different in driving styles. I feel like Mata's very loud, aggressive, and then Stuckey's a little bit more calm, cool, collected.
That's what they say.
That's what I think.
They've both said it. Maybe they're both just in on saying that they're cousins with each other, but I'm believing them until I.
No,
until
they are
I'm proven
cousins.
them.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
All right.
I'm 98% sure that they're cousins. I keep forgetting that that's a thing. Yeah.
Is there-
Did we lose Sara? Or is she just...
Sara, you muted?
Oh, my bad. I was muted.
Yeah, I
Listen
was
to me
like...
yapping over here.
Yeah, I thought you were saying stuff, and I wasn't
I
hearing
was.
anything. I was like...
And I was like, it's okay. They don't agree. It's fine. I'll just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
No, I was laughing because you were like, no, they're cousins. And I was like, you have their family tree in front of you? Or are you like comparing notes?
Actually, yeah, I have. I put little hearts next to it.
Yeah.
Cute, love it.
Yeah. No, it's that... Yeah, so like they're I'm pretty sure they are cousins though, which is hilarious. But I don't know where I would go with this, because it's two different styles. You got Mata, who's probably going to have over 1,000 wheel S chassis, and then you
it's
have
his old car. Don't forget.
right, but that thing still made over 1,000.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Made like 1,100.
How much,
It's
how
not
much
gonna be-
crumple? that they put in the bumper.
That's what I'm
Like, how
saying.
much
Yeah, he's
crumple
not going to
zone
be
did they
afraid
give the boy?
to back that thing into a few, which all of the walls time and time
Which he
Oh,
again.
loves,
man.
by the way.
Yeah,
This dude loves to destroy the back end of his car.
Travis, you got to blinker out. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
I was gonna say I don't see Travis, so we'll let him back in when he comes back. But
Maybe you don't see him.
I don't see him. He's not in my thingy.
He's
Yeah,
real.
yeah, that's on you there. dog.
Okay, hold on. What's crazy is, so I have the
That-
chat up next to us. I can see him here in ours, but he's not in the.
Oh yeah, he's not in the thing. That's on Nate's end.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's all good. Maybe
Yeah.
he'll jump back in if he needs to. But
Oh.
Mata Stuki, what do you guys think?
I think they can.
I don't
hear
think so.
you. Oh,
What do you mean
Yeah,
you
he
don't
can't.
think so?
Hold on.
Oh,
We have me and Herbie can see and speak to Travis, but you can't.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's crazy, spooky, weird.
Yeah. So he's not anywhere on my thingy, so it must have disconnected him. So he needs to jump in and jump back out.
Yeah, he says. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Bro,
I think
the chat's going
this
all
could
in on
go
Mata.
either way.
Dang.
Yeah, I went on Mata.
I went on Mata too. I just think
He's a
I don't
little
know. I think
crazier.
yeah, he's aggressive, and if he doesn't end up in the wall, please don't end up in the wall. I think he's gonna put on a damn good show. However, it's his first time ever at this round. Like we were talking about earlier, you shouldn't mess around with that part of the track. You know, I don't know how he's gonna do. If he pulls it off, I think it's gonna be amazing to watch, and I have faith in him. But Stuckey is more of like, you know, he's our small tire guy, really consistent, maybe less flashy. Not to say anything bad about him, but
Yeah.
you know, if Mata doesn't do anything wild, Stuckey might just take it that because of that.
Right. And I know I've talked to. Let's bring him back in. I don't know if we can see him or not, but
Am I back?
yeah, you are back. You're just a black screen.
I think you're coming
Really?
through your radio or something.
Dude, maybe.
These are the great parts of a live show, everybody.
Yeah.
This
Don't
is why
don't
it's
try this
so
at home,
fun.
kids. This is very bad, very dangerous. I don't endorse any of it.
Well, it's fine because he absolutely has his personal assistant in the passenger seat. to
Right, and he's
set
a
all these
professional
things up.
driver on a closed course, obviously.
Obviously.
It's actually a green screen in the background. He's going to play
Right.
virtual golf in the other room.
Yeah. Exactly. But if he doesn't jump on, it's all right. We're all good here. But back to the actual seating bracket. It seems like we're going with Mata just because of the aggressiveness and the huge caveat that he doesn't just eat the wall, which he loves to do. So
Yeah.
usually he gets away with it, though. That is the thing.
Hey. Yeah, you're
You're
back.
back. You're so back, baby.
I'm so back, dude.
Oh my gosh.
All right, what I missed, dude? What I missed?
Mata Stuki, who you got?
So
Yeah.
moderate Stuckey.
Ma-
Ooh, I don't know, dude. I think Stuckey is like the king of the small tire, and I think he's going to show up on a 255 again, and that track's going to favor that. So I think he'll have the advantage.
Interesting. Like, I get what you're saying too, and you got to remember he's driven the track before, and Mata hasn't. So I think that's a huge help on his side.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
My C pillars and my E46 are forever dented from going back window deep into the wall there. So
yeah, good old Long Beach. But all right,
It's like
guys.
a little trophy.
Yeah. So if we want
Yeah.
to kind of just give me your finals and who wins out of this bracket, I think that's going to be kind of the fun bit. Chat
Shanahan
definitely
or
picked
Sully?
Mod on this one, so that's pretty decisive victory. Holy cow, 89% to 10%. Wow. But yeah, so who you guys got in the finals here?
Shanahan and O'Sully.
Okay.
I think if Shanahan gets comfortable with the car, I think he'll be one of the higher contenders to deal with. I also think if Daigo gets comfortable with the car, I don't think we should count that out. But I think O'Sully's comfortable in his E46 as well. So we kind of I'm kind of on the fence. I could probably create like a top 6, but I couldn't go any further than that.
Well, I'm picking Litteral and Dmitry Brutsky in the finals. Going a little off the wall here.
Okay, I'm gonna go
Litteral
with
and Brutsky, huh?
Yeah. And I think Litteral's
I'm
going
going-
to
Sounded disgusted with
No, I was just like, that was like, it's just, he was right.
Do you
It's off
remember
the wall.
Brutsky's battle with Connor Shanahan last year?
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
But
No, it was really good.
are
Yes,
you guys forgetting the left foot brake rule?
Yeah.
Was left foot brake rule.
Did that go through?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's the thing. It's in the rule book. They
I
will
was talking to Reese. I was talking to Reese not too long ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
What
They
happened?
said it in the show with Sage and Jacob that it was because Reese wanted that in there. So yes, there is now a deduction
Hell yeah.
for left foot braking large amounts in the lead.
Okay.
Hell yeah. It's how it should be, dude.
Absolutely. So
It's important.
I'm curious to see how that affects guys like him, Manoa, for example, and stuff like that. But in terms of actually driving Long Beach, Dmitry Brutsky had a really good Long Beach last year.
That's true.
And
You won the seating.
that
no,
comes
he
back
lost
down to
it.
cars that are slower,
Yeah,
easier to drive there.
true.
yep, and he made the battle between him and Connor Shanahan was a really, really good battle. So I am actually pretty curious to see how he does at this, but I'm seeing a lot of Shanahan and TLO. We've seen with Celine Drift. We got Francis that says Hopson Lemaire. We got Anthony. He says Hopson and O'Sully final. A lot of guys high on Hopson, it looks like, for this. And Caddy, keep in mind, Hopson has got to beat Jack Shanahan to get to the final. So that would be pretty cool to kind of see.
Send Jack Shanahan out there in a stock 350.
Yeah.
I mean, he rips in all the videos, so that's what he drives all the time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude's a driver, man.
I will say though, I think Ben has an advantage being first round at Long Beach in an RTR just from the standpoint of being able to get the car fixed if he has a problem.
True.
Like if Shanahan goes into the wall and breaks something, you don't know what Rome has supplied for him. RTR has 3 cars on the trailer, so Ben will be able to drive super hard, blow the trunk off every single lap, and you know that thing's going to roll out to Hot Grid looking brand new again. So that's an advantage in itself.
Yeah.
100%. No, you make a
So-
good point. So I'm curious to see how this goes. I like to be a little bit of a contrarian and add some different names in there.
Yeah,
But-
I also too, because I think Haley's got this on the one side of the bracket, and I think O'Sully's got it on the other. Little E46 off.
That'd be fun. Again, O'Sully's path, theoretically, if Daigo and Shanahan struggle with the new cars, is pretty feasible. So
Yeah.
it'll be
Trailing arm will always succeed, dude.
Put that on
Alrighty,
a shirt.
Yeah, I
Now-
call it the trailing arm wrestle.
exactly. Let's move to the big boy bracket now. Top 32.
Oh, baby.
We're probably going to zoom in on some of these so we can kind of see what we're doing here. We'll go first top half of the bracket so we can see it.
And we really can't weigh in on any of the ones that have
Correct.
like seating bracket guys because we don't know who the heck they have.
Correct.
Yeah,
But we
I
do
think there's
have
only 4 battles that are populated.
Right. So what I kind of wanted to quick hit was Just a quick piece on some of the drivers. We do have a little bit more on some previous episodes on some of the drivers, but just get some quick thoughts out there. Obviously, James Dean is the guy to beat this year. And I don't think there's any questions about that. He's always going to be the guy to beat until he's not driving the series. That's just how it is. But next up, we have Beecham and Sharp. How do you say his name? Is it Charpentier?
Charpentier is what his mom told Jared, so I'm going with that. Charpentier.
Okay, we're going with Charpentier. So Beecham versus Charpentier. I believe Charpentier is driving an E36, if I'm correct, this year.
Last I heard.
Yeah. So he's back to that car. It's not the same chassis he was in 2 years ago, though, right? Is it a new one?
I don't actually know.
Okay. We know he can drive in it, though. So
yeah.
And Beecham was a guy. He's a guy he randomly shows up to and does really well at events, and then other times he makes silly mistakes. So he's a guy that's very hard to judge for myself, I feel like.
That is a hard one. I don't know if I could pick between those two, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Beecham's had a lot of car trouble, or at least this last season. So, it's hard to say what's going to happen with him either. So if they're both on, true.
I'm going with Beecham. I think because he knows that Rome is really good, and as long as his car is working,
yeah,
I think he's really going for gold here.
Right.
Which obviously everybody is not going to lose.
I appreciate how consistent Rome is as a driver.
True.
He's a guy that I feel like as long as the car is working, he's always a threat. And for me, the consistency of Rome, I think, is gonna on this battle trump Beecham. But like I said, I think it's gonna be a good battle where I think it's pretty even on that side of it. And I'm curious to see.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the chat says. Looks like early voting from the chat is pretty heavily in Rome's favor, which I kind of agree with. But again,
he does drive
a ton. Trent seemed to be on kind of a hot streak at the end of the year last year, though, and
he was
started to get some traction and get more comfortable with the car. So, I mean, that's worth something.
Has he released what tire he's on? Because he was on Nexon last year.
Yeah, Nexon's gone from what I heard.
Yeah. So
the rubber one.
So I wonder if he's on Kumo, because I don't think he was on the Kenda announcement.
I don't think he was either. So what does that leave? GT Radial and Kumo?
Kumo, basically, those two. So I'm going to
Kumo,
assume he's on
Kenda,
Kumo.
Nitto.
Which, by the way, I believe Kumo improved their tires from last year, because I know Jeff Jones was running their their all-season tire for a couple rounds.
That's such a Jeff Jones move. He's just if an all-season tire was a person,
Well, like the racing tires weren't lasting the whole run, about 2 runs. So
Jeff all-season Jones, dude.
Hell yeah!
That's a pretty good name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's gonna get me
fantastic.
canceled for sure.
I love it.
So we're looking at 69% to 31%. Rome gets the win in the chat. Very nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
Alrighty.
It says 68 when you finish it.
Oh, boo.
Bummer. I failed, you guys.
Who ruined it? Who ruined it?
Next up on the list is Dylan Hughes. A guy we interviewed said he's out for bumpers this year. He's out for doors.
Let's
He
go,
seems
Dylan.
ready to rip.
I'm hoping for good things for him, because he's a guy that I kind of talked to, and I was like, dude, you drive way too nice. He drives the perfect lead lap, and it's like way too easy to chase.
Yeah, I feel bad for whoever he's got from the seating bracket, because they're gonna get a little run for their money.
Yeah.
What's Dylan placed? Is he gonna get the higher? Oh, so he's gonna get the higher seed, right?
Yeah, he's gonna get seed number 24. So it's like mid pack.
It's a lower.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and
so he doesn't get the banger, but I guess it's randomized anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No. So he gets the 24th seed. But assuming he wins, he's probably going. Oh, and I just totally skipped over Connor Shanahan. He was the other guy underneath that battle. We'll get to him in a sec because if Connor Shanahan wins, he's going against Dylan Hughes, and I'm all about that battle.
That could be a good battle.
That could be a party.
Yeah, I really would love a good year for Mr. Dylan.
Agreed. He's earned it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've said this before, but I've definitely won battles. Like, I've beat Dylan before strictly from the fact that his lead was so good that I could chase him hard, and my lead was mediocre enough to where he couldn't chase me as hard, but I'd still edge out and get a win because of it. And I've noticed that, and I always feel bad that that's how the judging goes.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a thing when you're a little slower, but you lock into the first turn and you're just on the throttle the whole time and super smooth and know where you're at. Like, you're basically giving the chase driver a gravy train. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yep. So
it's a tough one.
But his car's like on the ragged edge of falling apart. He's like welded a shock tower and like a frame rail in, and he's like, he's like, I'm 3 rocker panels in, dude. He's like, I'll total this piece of shit. I don't care. So that's good. That's good. That means you're gonna get someone driving hard and not caring, and that's the most important. Right. So I'm excited for that. That should be a good watch.
Same.
Absolutely, I'm excited for it. And he told us that on the stream, so I was like, dude, I want to see it. I want to see you bang some doors.
Totally.
But above him, we got Connor Shanahan in a new chassis. Well, not in his old, in a chassis that he's familiar with, but it is new. So take that with a grain of salt or sand, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Is he scarier this year than he was last year? I would argue yes. But it is a new chassis, so there's always gremlins with new chassis.
Yeah,
it's not as good of a car, dude. It's not as good of a car.
Yeah.
I kind of tend to agree, and I think in my rankings, because we did rankings on Tuesday, I had him going lower than 8 or around 8th or lower this year. So I didn't have him improving with the new chassis, which I feel like was a hot take. Because I think a lot of people are expecting him to fight James for a championship this year.
Well, here's the thing. When's the last time an 8.6 won a championship?
That's a great point. What was it? Die? No, he wasn't an 8.6 back then. That's my bad.
I don't think an 8.6 has ever won a championship. No.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. And the highest ranked one was probably Manoa last year at 4th.
Yeah, I think Kazoo was up there pretty high the year before in one. Both Jerry cars. I think Jerry's got the best setup on those cars. That's probably my least favorite car as far as competitive drifting goes. Yeah. And I know like Connor runs one in Europe, but they also have cheater tires in Europe, so you can band-aid a lot of suspension geometry problems.
Right.
And our tires are not as good here, so it would be interesting to see if he can get the speed out of that car at the tracks that need it. Long Beach, it won't matter because you don't need the grip and the speed, but seeing that car at like Utah or like Atlanta, like a track that needs mechanical grip and needs speed and grip in the car, like it'll be interesting to see how they get it figured out, because that chassis definitely lacks, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I would agree.
100%. Like I said, it's gonna be really curious to see, because you always have gremlins with the new car. It just seems to always be a thing, and it seemed, and like I said, I'm curious to see how it goes. But a lot of people are expecting him to challenge for a championship, so I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Let's look up next. Hiro Manoa, the other guy that's an 8.6. driver.
He just graduated middle school, guys.
I know, it's crazy.
It's so sweet.
What were you doing when you graduated middle school?
I think like Polly Pocket still or something. Like I wasn't in a competitive drifting series.
Building dirt jumps for my bike. Not a care in the world. Just
Just chilling,
Not even
man.
thinking
Oh,
about
man.
anything competitive at all.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
wanking
I
to
think
hang
he's
out on the
another
floor.
wait and see.
Well,
I think we
he's
need
the
to just see
guy
what
that
he's
I
gonna
want to
bring
see
us.
how they do this rule. I want to see how they do this left foot braking rule because he was one of the guys that I know drivers would complain about the change in speeds that he would have.
That's out
in
here
the
preying on
lead,
his downfall.
you know. So it's like, how are the judges going to judge that this year? It'll be really interesting to see. Again, he does put the car where it's supposed to be, and that's always the challenge. Is that he does put the car where it's supposed to be. It's just how does he get there? And I think a lot of the season's really going to depend on how the judges go with that rule, honestly. And if Manoa can adjust in certain ways, you know.
Yeah,
But that dude
I'm
can
actually
chase.
really excited. I'm really excited for that rule because there's been a lot of times that I've driven against people and they're significantly slower in the lead than I feel like they were in the chase. Like I was like struggling to keep the car in drift behind someone, and then all of a sudden, like I'm driving my lead lap wide open, and they're in my door, and I'm like, "Where'd you pick up 10 miles an hour from?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it should be good to like call people out that drive like that. Not that it's like the worst thing to do, but it leaves some like in a lot of inconsistency on the table and just causes like I feel like problems for the show.
It's bad if you overdo it, and some people have been
Yeah.
overdoing it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. If you can't drive your car wide open on the gas without the brakes in the lead, then just take some grip out and then just be more committed with a little less grip, and then you don't have to rely on the brakes to keep the car settled where you want it.
Amen to that. I agree. That's
You tell him.
definitely the thing with Manoa, because if you watch, especially in practice, how many guys
Holy
chasing him
shit.
struggle, it's pretty astounding. Like it's a pretty obvious thing when you're seeing a bunch of guys checking up all over the place behind him, and it's like it's a tough scenario. But again, you also should be able to adapt to some degree as well.
So I actually won a battle against Kazuya for that exact same reason at Jersey. The judges said that they watched like him on the brakes throughout our zone 2, and then he let off the brake and he like rolled me and like pulled a pretty big gap, and they called that against him. And I was always curious, like, did Manoa share a driving style with Kazuya? Because I know Kazuya liked to regulate speed on the brakes.
Yeah.
So them being on the same team, did that kind of fall over into Manoa's driving style a little bit?
Probably. I mean, it's probably some of it's
fair
on the
question.
sim. I do a very minimal amount of sim driving, but I use the left foot brake for a lot of things on there, and it works great. Probably way better than real life, but I'm curious. Like I said, I'm curious to see how his year goes. I don't know if fourth place is what I don't have him pegged for fourth place this year overall. I'm thinking more in the close to like 5 to 10 range for me. But next battle, we got Chris Forsberg, Dan Burkett.
Damn, I hate that.
I know.
Yeah.
Two new guys on both got on WiseFab this year for the first time.
Forsberg changed his car to WiseFab?
Yeah.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yeah, he was at the whole WiseFab event. Yep.
So the idea is that both of these guys' cars should drive a lot better.
Or just completely different.
Dan's got the new like WiseFab rear kit. They were able to change some geometry around. Kevin approved it. So his car's going to be a little different because of that.
Yep.
But
I think it's
that should be a
Dan's
good battle.
year.
It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger for a 32 battle for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to go against Forsberg just because of the pedigree, but I am so curious to see Dan in the new setup car. Because when we talked to him about it, he's like, yeah, it's probably like a 10% improvement of the car. And I'm like, I don't know, but I think it's a lot more than that. The fact that you're able, that the wheels squat inwards now and it toes in, like, I feel like that's a pretty big game changer for mechanical grip.
I think 10% was all he needed. He just needed that little edge. Like, he was just slightly out of, like, top 10, in my opinion, that he just needed that little something, and maybe this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, Brandon going Chris with the voice fab. I'm thinking Dan for this one. We're gonna see. I'm hoping he
It's a
throws
pretty
that
close.
super in
It's
there
pretty
all
close
crazy.
actually in the chat right now. It's at 56.
It's gonna be a good battle.
Yeah.
Francis Rad Dan is gonna get brake checked. How else would he know if they're working?
Yeah.
Luckily, there's a rule against that now, dude.
Yeah, there we go. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, there technically was a rule against braking outside of braking zones, but I don't know how much they actually enforce that.
If you just like yeet the steering wheel really hard one direction real quick and create a wall with your front tires, that's like a little quick cheat code.
Yeah? Is that how that works?
Is that how you're gonna win those sim comps, Herbie?
Is that how it works on the sim?
Yeah, you don't. So then they don't see the brakes, but really you're putting the brakes on and bending everything.
Oh,
Sneaky.
Wow. Dan Burkett just took the lead in the poll. Holy smokes.
Wow.
It was 50%, 56% Forsberg, but now it's changed to 54% Burkett. So people are high on Dan this year. I'm excited for it.
We're high off that Rad Dan pack.
Yeah, baby.
Let's go. I honestly don't know. Like I'm gonna pick Forsberg just because I'm like experienced and he's done it so many years. But again, I'm hoping for Dan to possibly be in that like top 10 range this year. Like I think that would be an incredibly good year if he made like top 10.
Lose.
I agree.
No more lose.
Love to see him on a podium. Like that would be amazing.
That would be great.
Yeah. I'm gonna let this poll run just for a little bit longer because I want to get some more votes in here. But yeah, Dan Burkett's winning right now.
A lot of people are probably not going to get this reference, but I think Dan is like Sudbury Blueberry Bulldog, and I think he's never going to lose again.
Yeah, now you lost me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't got that one.
Okay.
Fair enough.
If
one person gets that reference, I'll be happy.
Sudbury Blueberry.
It's a Shorzy reference. It's a hockey reference.
Oh.
I should have known that. I see a lot of the clips, but that's funny.
You should have watched. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, they say it much better than you. Let's just say that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
But next up, we got Adam LZ. Actually, gonna drive a whole season, planning to drive a whole season. He's got the car to do it. What tire is he on?
GT.
I would assume, yes.
I think he's on GT, but he's got a tire street steel, so I think he's just buying.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way he's buying tires. I'm sure Tire Streets is helping him out there. But is this his year? Or was last year kind of a fluke? What do you guys think?
No, Adam's definitely stepped up a lot of his shit, and that should be the most competitive car in the field, in my opinion, because it's light, makes the most power, and it's an E36. They just everyone who's driven one, they just drive different, but he obviously has shown that he is super competitive in the car. But on paper, that should be the best car in the field, realistically.
Yeah, Travis is totally biased. We should have predicted this.
Yep.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie.
When you think about it, though,
I was watching some of his runs at New Jersey, and watching him enter, and just watching how much grip the car gets as soon as he gets on throttle after entry. The whole car just does a wheelie, and I'm just like, it's insane because the car itself doesn't. Because, obviously with an RTR, their suspension's so soft they make these undulations, and it didn't look like his car was that soft, but it was still like doing wheelies as soon as he got on powered. It's just like
Boys gripped up.
the boy wants to go fast.
You want to know why? He's got the
I
trailing
feel like
arm,
you're
dude.
gonna say trailing arm. I think
got the
he says
trailing-
trailing arm, guys.
I'm not biased at all. Not biased at all.
So do you
Trust
think
me, I
he's
have-
finishing better than 5th this year? That's the question.
I think he's got the skill to do it. To be honest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
say top 5. I wouldn't be surprised if he finished 5th.
That's where I had him.
Yeah.
I think I had him 5th in my rankings for this season. But like Travis said, he's got one hell of a car, and now it's can he put it all together?
He also drives the most out of probably anybody in the field when you think about it.
True.
I would agree. That's true.
So, and that does a lot. Seat time is literally like, you'd be surprised how many dudes in pro, literally like the off season, they don't drive a car until they show up either for a very rare test day before Long Beach or show up at Long Beach. That's the first time they've driven a car since
That's-
Irwindale. It happens.
That's nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very common.
No, you're
So-
right. There's no replacement for seat time, and homeboy literally can do that. He can just wake up and just go drive, and
Dude, wouldn't that be sick?
yeah,
I'm
right.
gonna make a couple laps of the compound today. Why
Yeah,
not?
let me go take a lunch real quick and go do a couple laps and then come back in.
Yeah.
Like, but no,
Nice.
I'm excited though. I think it's good for the FD that he's running the whole series. I hope they take much advantage of him running the series, marketing that he's running the series, and doing all of that, because that's important. Like, that's a guy you don't want to lose to Drift Masters, for example. And you want him around as much as possible. And obviously, I think FD's goal would be to attract more drivers of his social level on like social media and stuff like that over in FD. So I'm excited he's running this year. Next up,
same.
we got Jeffrey Jones, the guy
Well,
that
well,
just
boys
keeps
and
on
girls.
going.
Hate to interrupt, but I'm at my destination.
Sounds
Have
good.
fun with
I
your
appreciate
golf
Travis
days,
you coming
Grandpa.
on. Hey, where can
Hope
everyone
get
check
little
you
holes
out?
or whatever.
Oh,
Dude, say hi,
boy.
Tommy.
There you go. What's up? All right, you go smack some balls there, bud.
All right, bye, Grandpa.
Well, dude, I'm gonna smack the crap out of him. All right, I'll see you guys later. I got my new
See
balances
ya.
on.
Pause.
About to swing some clubs. I'll see you guys later.
See you, boss.
later, sir.
See ya. All right, get him out of here.
I think Mr. Jeff Jones has been on quite the tear, so I think
I just
want to
see him on some solid tires, and I think he's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it this year.
Agreed.
But,
Hefe Jones. What did you call him before?
Hefe Jones. I said he's a-
Jefe
Jeffrey All Season Jones.
Yeah, I like that. It's got a good ring.
I like
It's
it.
nuts.
All right, next up, I'm gonna see if I can zoom in just a hair a bit more. We got Odie Botches, and for those of you that watched Tuesday's stream, he was my number one.
Yeah, I
He's the guy that
completely
you
agree
think's
with
gonna
you.
win?
Like,
I
I think the
think-
boy's coming in hot.
He's running a one car team this year. He's
Yeah.
actually driving, I think, Simon Olsen's chassis that he ran last year, because it's a newer chassis, and all he cares about is himself this year, which is, I think, a big thing. He's not worrying about everything else, and yeah, I think this is his year. On my power rankings, I changed him with James Dean basically. I said him, James, and then Osbo as my top three, and I don't know why. I feel like he's the guy that's going to make the jump this year and do it.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think
it's his
James
season.
got really lucky with car issues last year. Considering how Ben Hopson's year went, and the fact that none of those things happened to James's car, or at least they were able to fix it on James's car, I think was a pretty lucky-ish thing. Granted, they have probably the best team in drifting for fixing the car. But I just, my reasoning for Odie over James was I think there's going to be a round or two where the car fails James.
Dang.
And
Very interesting.
That was my reasoning.
I mean, I did see. It seemed like Odie was genuinely like a little nervous about the state of his oil once he cut open his Puro oil filter.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's a brand new motor, like he had stated too. But it's hard to kind of read him because he's just such like a genuine, like innocent, good guy. So like I couldn't really tell if it was a real discern or just stating like happy to have Puro filter or whatever on board to prevent this from going in the engine any further. But
might be a good time to plug a sponsor. So I don't know if I would read too much into that.
Yeah, it was just like the way of how he did like mention it. I was like, well, damn. Hopefully everything is cool. We don't see another crazy.
Well, for me, it was like he went through all the troubles last year of the engines, and I was like, I feel like they got it figured out by the end of the year. So I assume they're doing something similar this year with the engine package and figuring it out. So that's kind of where I was at this year. But who knows? Could be his year, could be not. You never know. Next up. Next battle, we got Hurst and Castro. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah,
two guys that I'm not sure what you're going to get on any given day.
True.
I've seen both of these guys put on the best chase run of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
And not for nothing, but I think we all remember Hurst getting absolutely robbed at Long Beach last year. Like, I know we all love Dean, but I honestly think Hurst was better that particular battle. I think it should have probably gone to him.
Well, and technically by the rules, he did win. And they said that in the driver's meeting the next round, which I'm sure was so nice.
Yeah, which is a bummer. And I know, like, again, just to defend FD a little bit, hindsight's 20/20. When we go watch it back, it's clear as day. But at the time, it might not have been. Plus, it was a brand new season with brand new rule book and all this stuff. And I think he unfortunately slipped through the cracks. But my point being, he was on fire at Long Beach, and maybe we'll see that fire again.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean,
I just want to say real quick, too, shout out to the FD people. They do a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree.
I mean, these things do happen in all these different sports where you got referees, that make a shit call, and then they're like, so that was on us. Sorry about that. It just cost you the championship. Got that. But nothing we can do. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the NFL refs are perfect, right? I don't think that's an issue in the NFL. Right?
NFL, like you see it all the time. Every call in the NBA, it's like up in arms of like,
It's not like there's infamous calls in any NHL playoff series ever that ever just stand the test of time. It's not like there's anything that get nicknames anymore.
Right.
It's just it is the nature of the sport, but again, it was just it's frustrating because I just love the guy and he's gone through a lot.
Well, maybe he's got a little bit of a vendetta, and we're gonna get a damn good battle next week.
100%. But yeah, so he is the guy I'm picking over Castro in this battle. But again, Castro is a guy that can pull out, like I said, the best chase of the day if he just so happens to. So, good to me, a good battle between both those guys. I'm excited for both. Chat is also agreeing at 67% Hurst for the win as well. So, kind of in the same alignment there, but it's good to see that Hurst is getting some respect as well. I'm glad that he's getting the what's the word I'm trying to say? Notoriety. There we go.
I'm excited to see what his car looks like this year. I don't think he's.
He better have some kind of headlights on that thing, or else I'm going to go over there and kick it myself.
Keep me posted, guys.
I will. All right, Matt.
I'm gonna take him out right before Nate walks by, so then he just kicks it, and then Hurst's like, "What are you doing, dude?" And then I got the headlights in the background, like, kick his ass, kick his ass.
There you go.
Who's up?
Matt Field, ranked
That's
7
another
last year.
one.
He was the one guy I had getting into the top 5 that was different from last year.
I can't wait to see him drive a C8. He's gonna be sick
Yeah.
this year.
But he's not driving that in comp.
Sorry,
I
that's
don't
me
think so.
spreading misinformation.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, he's driving the C6 this year. C8's just the demo car.
The C6 does look really sick though, like all the body changes. It looks quite aggressive.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think he's here to try and, win a championship like he always is. And guess what? The last event of the year is not Irwindale anymore. So maybe he's actually has the ability to win a championship this year.
You see,
Because he has lost, I believe, the championship twice in Irwindale.
The curse.
Oh, yeah, true.
So that is something for everyone to keep in mind this year. But I think he's always a guy that comes out swinging. I think last year was a bit of an off year for him. Had some car issues, some not ideal battles I think that he would have liked to have back. So I think this year he's going to come back, and we're going to see the old Matt Field that we've seen the previous couple of years.
Yep, I would agree with that.
But always interesting to see where he goes from here. The next guy that and I'm really high on this guy, Brandon Sorensen.
This dude's, you're smoking a lot. You're high on a lot of guys.
Dude, I don't know what it is.
Token
You're smoking a lot of dudes out here.
This is a kid that I low key was like could make a top 5 finish at the end of the year.
Yeah, and especially so like if you guys remember him as a rookie, he was like the guy coming in. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, he's so good. He is good." And then in Orlando with the whole Ryan Litteral thing chasing him, like that was some of the aggression that we saw from him his rookie season. So I think he's getting back into that, and I think he's one to watch. I'm saying top 10 this year easily.
Yeah, I mean he finished 10th last year, and he's definitely a guy that has a super high future. And I think one of these years he's probably going to compete for a championship. I don't know if that's this year, but he's definitely a guy that's going to be knocking on the door, trying to get that next, even like a top 3 finish, I think would be an insanely good year for him.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see. You got to knock out some good people to get even in the top 5. So
it's true. The field is stacked this year.
It is. It's a short field, but it is a stacked field. Next up, Freddie Osbo. And is there really anything other to say about Freddie Osbo than he's just good? He's just a good driver.
He is good, and he's got a new tire. He's on a Kenda this year.
That is correct. That is the big change for him.
Yeah.
And Brandon seemed pretty optimistic about Kenda and making the switch from Nitto. I don't know if I'm as high on it as Brandon was, but to be fair, Osbo can drive anything. He's the one. Sure. He's the guy that I watch drive the most, and I ask how he does things the most.
Yeah.
Like there's so many times where I've seen him like put the car a quarter away into the wall. You see the front end start to go in, and then he just saves it somehow. And I don't know how he saves it. He just does. Or there's been multiple times where it's like there's a guy in the lead that's going to do something really bad, and he just avoids all of it. And there's been so many times where his maneuverability and car control is probably some of the best in the world that I've watched. So obviously no slouch, and I wouldn't be surprised if he won again this year or won a championship this year. Again.
Yeah. This is definitely a tougher year, like in my opinion, as opposed to last year.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning, it was like, all right, guys, like who you betting on that's gonna win this year? And it's like everybody collectively, the room could shout, James Dean. This year, if you were to yell that into the room, like who you betting on, you're gonna get 33 different answers. Yeah. So
that's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
I like that better.
Yeah, I do
like
too.
This situation better.
When it comes to where to put money on, it's definitely a little more hard.
Yeah, true. Well, I think we'll see. Give us like a round or two, and we're gonna see where the front runners come out.
100%.
I don't got a round or two. It's gotta be front and center before anybody touches the track.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, this is a tough season. There's a lot of good talent out here.
Yep.
And we want to keep it. That's what we're saying. We want to keep the talent here.
Yes.
So FD,
Yes.
let's make it worth it. All right. Next up, we got Novak and Turk. Novak and Gushi. Sorry,
Novak and Gushi.
Novak and Gushi as a battle here. Gonna be a good one. Gushi.
Yeah.
So Gushi had struggled, I feel like, the previous couple seasons, and then last year switched to the JZ, really found his stride. But then another guy that also was finding his stride before the engine failure was Nick Novak. Unfortunately, that really put a damper on his season, but I think he's a guy that I picked to really jump up the standings. So as you can see, I think he was ranked lower than 19th because some guys ahead of him aren't driving this year. I'm just going to quick verify that. But I think he was one of the guys who I had jumping up, testing or trying to compete for a top 10 this year as well. Let me just pull up the old Formula Drift rankings.
I was liking Novak for this one just because I've seen, like, he's kind of a hometown boy from that area, and I've seen him throw down at Long Beach before. I've seen him do really good there before. So I think this might be, it's going to be a very good battle, but I think Novak might just edge him out.
Yeah. I personally have Novak in this just because BMW chassis. Also, he is a good driver, though, and a guy that really showed spurts. Obviously, won Irwindale 2 years ago. He's shown the signs of being a serious competitor. So he finished at 21st last year overall. I wouldn't be surprised to see him 10, 11, 12 range this year overall, and probably with a podium. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely a guy to watch out for this year. And then Gushi, it's tough. You know, Ken, I love Ken. And he's a guy that you know is going to put that consistent lead. For me, it's always been the chase with him. Like, can he push it to that next level?
Yeah.
Is he okay hurting his beautiful car? Because that's the thing. His car is always one of the best on grid looking.
Yeah.
And so, I
love his attitude.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. So, I wish all the luck to both of these guys. But yeah, I picked Novak. Let's see what the chat decided. Chat is a close one. Chat's 59% Novak over Gushi right now. So,
I will say all of the battles so far are like, there's no clear winner, and that is going to make for a damn good show, and I'm very excited about that.
I mean, it's kind of hard because seeding round has so many battles that they get to go against, so they get a lot of seat time seeding round.
True.
100%. Yeah. All right. We're almost through this. Almost. We're almost at 2 hours too, which is wild.
Yeah.
I was expecting an hour 15 for the show, and then I start talking. This is the problem.
We got a yap. We have to yap.
We got Uncle Turkey in his cool, nice blue and yellow car.
I like the blue part of the car. I like the blue.
New on Kenda.
Yeah, another Kenda.
Yeah.
And Nate's still a yellow hater.
Yeah, I unfortunately am a yellow hater. And Nick Novak did win the poll 61% to 39%, just so everyone knows. Thank you, everyone in the chat, by the way, participating. Always appreciate.
We love
you guys.
You
guys have been running through the comments here. So if you guys want to have, us to answer any questions, Start to put them in now because I'm going to try and keep track. There's no way I was able to keep track of all the questions in the
Put
previous
it in
parts
Yeah.
of the
chat
show.
with $100 donation, and we'll maybe get to it.
Yeah, well.
Oh
So
my
if
gosh,
you guys
could
have
you
questions before the end of the show, put them in the chat now because I'm going to try and keep an eye on them for those last like 10 minutes here.
Few minutes, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Turk decided to probably crash the car more than anyone else did last year. I feel like every round that dude was on a flatbed and still
Yeah,
got
I have a
6th
theory.
overall in the championship. So I don't know
You have a
how to
theory?
read this guy. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
Sarah, you have a theory?
I think he crashed it more than anyone else because his butt is shorter. Just got a little tiny butt back there.
It's a big butt though. Like it's tall. It's just
No,
not...
it's just so short.
Yeah,
If you look from where the rear wheel is
Yeah.
to where he runs out of butt, it's like 2 inches of butt. It's not enough butt.
It's true.
Hot
So-
take.
He needs a bigger butt, is what you're saying. Well,
Yeah,
You hear that, Turk? You just
you need some surgery,
the
bud.
gym.
respectfully.
Respectfully, you need a bigger butt. Do some squats, bud.
I feel like he
Like-
got ran into like more than half
True.
of those times.
Yeah.
So.
True.
Yeah, that's
I
a
just
very
I
good
just
point.
remember
He
looking
was-
back at the footage. Like Long Beach destroyed the car.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that, it was
Irwindale
honestly-
destroyed
it
the
was
car.
Crazy.
dude, Irwindale destroyed it twice, and the one crash was like 3 of the 4 corners were like
Yeah.
total.
Yeah, I'm
was
pretty sure Long
nuts.
Beach he had to pull into the pits 3 times too.
But
Yep.
they Papadakis'd it and got it back out every time after all those wrecks, which like, give it up to him.
Exactly. Yeah, he's a guy that just kind of gets things done. So wouldn't be surprised at another top 10 finish for him, and I'm sure he's a guy that wants a championship. We'll see if he can put it together though. Like that's always been the thing. Is like usually, he gets a couple good battles, but then he makes a mistake somewhere.
Yeah.
So curious to see where he does. And then last but not least, the guy that I think is the biggest wild card of the whole series, Simon Olsen. Because I don't know
He's
where
the
to put him.
Yeah.
He's
me
either a
neither.
championship contender or he's 20 plus at the end of the week or at the end of the
I
year.
agree. Because
Yeah.
that chassis is like not easy to drive.
Nope. But
I mean,
he can drive. So what is it?
he seems to like it. So, and he seems to have learned quite a bit and developed the car around him and take what he's learned with Odie. And
So here's what I do know.
thinking
That
like
car
a
is
15.
entirely new. It's the
Yeah.
same car, but it's also not the
Yeah.
same car. Everything has been changed on it. There's now, since he has driven the car, there have been R&D from other people like Peter Visick, Osbo on how to make this chassis better work. So I know he's been taking a lot of knowledge from other people that have been building the car and then working with companies to make this thing more competitive. It's going to be tough because it's one of those things where I need to believe it or see it to believe it.
Yeah.
But we know he can drive. So the thing is like he's going to be a problem for everyone he drives against. I just want to know if the car is going to be a problem.
I hope not.
I hope not
We're
too.
gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead.
It is
and wait
it is a
and
beautiful car though. I will say that. Like it is a gorgeous car.
What, you got like a new
You're right.
picture? You got the new design?
He's
No,
got it in a
it's just
locket
I like
around his neck.
Supras. I just like Supras.
Oh, I didn't know if like you somehow got the lowdown of like here's.
I might
this
have the
new-
lowdown, but that doesn't matter.
He totally does. He's keeping secrets from us.
I mean, sometimes I get like lowdowns,
Yeah.
but like they're really low and down.
Same.
Phil is asking for an Andy Luck story. Do you guys have an Andy Luck story that you can legally tell us?
When I learned not to mess with, like, I've heard his like name a bit.
Yeah.
This was like my first Prospec shooting here, and you know, Matt, Alex, Steve, Ricky, like all my boys, like we all go mosey over to the drivers meeting. I was gonna stand outside of it anyway, because I'm not a driver or a spotter, not my thing.
Right.
And so I'm like hanging out, and then so Steve and his brother Matt Misco, they go to mosey in, and they both had shorts on, and
Ooh.
that dude just basically, it was like picking up like a little kitten, like a mama kitten picking up like or a mama cat picking up their little kitten.
Oh no!
He was on for almost the entire stream, and then that's when he could get knocked off.
Here he goes.
But like by the back of like their neck, and
The scruff.
and just dragging them out, and then yelling at them, made a very big spectacle of them in front of everybody as to like these are the rules, and then also even kicked out Moose, which everybody knows Moose. That's in FD. He's been there for pretty much the entirety of FD, if not all of it. I'm not even really sure because just older guy. He got kicked out of the meeting. I was like, oh my god, who is this guy? And then like worked with Forsberg for a bit and got like the safety in with Andy. So that way he recognized my face and he's like, all right, maybe he's not that bad, even though he hung out with those derelicts. It's like, hi Andy, how you doing? I'm Herbie.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you everything. I'm gonna tell you everything in my life I've done wrong, so you don't have anything to yell at me at for.
That's amazing. Yeah. Low-key, Andy Luck does know about the show and does know about the stories that have been told about him. Just so you guys know. So just he has seen some of it, and he's laughed to me about some of it.
As long as he's laughing.
Chuck says that he wants to come back on, and because he's got a very now fresh and new Andy Luck story that he would love to share.
Oh boy.
All right, we'll think about it. Chuck's.
I don't know if our Make-A-Wish time is up yet, though. Like I think it's a couple months down the road still.
I told him, I was like, dude, I was like, Long Beach is coming. You just hop on over during the practice streams. We got you.
Yeah.
Exactly. We'll have some fun. We did get one more question, and I'm trying to find it from Malik. I think it was. Well, Yogi said he was going to arrest me in 2009, so that's a fun story. But Malik asked, I don't know if any of you guys talked about how the LZ tour was, but if you guys went, how was it?
It was cold as all get out. I was on my best behavior. The driving was top notch, and a Canadian won. So.
Was there a lot of like chanting in the crowd, like USA versus Canada, or?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it was very fun. There was. I was sitting in the stands for a bit towards the end, and there was a few Canadians peppered in. What's funny is they were like super loud, and so I'm just heckling back and being like, "Sit down, maple syrup ass!" Like I'm just,
Yeah, I got to. Sorry.
Yeah. Josiah won. Josiah was driving great. Everyone was driving great all weekend. I liked the fantasy battles. I thought they were cool.
The fantasy battles were sick. They were like definitely. I mean, a little bias seeing like my two dummies go against each other, and then Matt giving a whole spiel about outdoor digs, dude. And all right. So if anybody's watching this that was at LZ World Tour and you're over in that area, if you have footage of Bystrack giving his outdoor dig spiel, message me on Instagram, Herbie Media, or message Bystrack at whatever his Instagram is. It's long. It's his whole name. And we'll pay for it or whatever. Yeah, because he did. He literally went on a whole like, like outdoor digs, like come and apply for a wintertime position. Like, if you want to be able to do what I do out here, this makes dreams come reality, or whatever the hell he's like saying. And I'm
gosh.
Like, okay. Someone actually texted like the other co-owner like of the company, and was like, hey, I was at the LZ World Tour this weekend, and I think one of your employees was there, and their boss, Ricky Hoffman, and whoever his boss is, meaning Matt,
Yeah.
and he's like, yeah, he like hyped up like outdoor digs for like a good minute.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Oh, hey,
I
there's
liked the
marketing for
bet
you.
because Ricky and Bystrack went against each other. Boss versus employee, right? Ha ha he he. Well, they put a bet on it and they didn't know that it was crowd judged. So Bystrack said he would give Ricky a raise if Ricky
He
beat him.
That's not what happened. So what had
Okay,
happened
all
was
right.
they went to shake on it. It was just dinner and drinks, and then right as the hands
Okay.
were coming to meet, Ricky's like, and a raise. And, and then like so then like right after that, like I'm doing like I'm recording Ricky for like the YouTube video I'm making for him, and he goes
Yeah.
on to say he's like got Bystrack up in the fantasy battle, it's like if I win I get a raise, and then like after it cuts I'm like that's solidified now, dude. I'm like that's evidence.
Yeah.
Like,
And Ricky won, but Bystrack contested it, I believe, because he didn't realize it was crowd judged. And they just cheered louder for Ricky, and
yeah,
so they gave it to Ricky.
yeah. As I was talking to him today, and we were laughing about it. I was like, "Yeah, dude." I'm like, that. Like, in my opinion, I'm like, Matt, I think you did better, but they're
Yeah,
gonna.
Matt was having a hell of a day. He
He,
was doing really
he was
good.
doing good, but I'll tell you what, the bank was apparently he was afraid of that wall. So
Most people are.
not at your home track that you've done thousands of laps on.
Yeah,
True.
but I don't know.
It was a great time though.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was good.
I
It was
love
really
how they
good.
run their events. They have a lot of fun with it.
It
Mhm.
definitely. I think that they could have sent more cars out quicker, but at the same time, the way how they had it, there wasn't that many like track workers per se. So like I was doing media things that I would never imagine to do at any Club Loose event. Like with how like I would run from like box to box, like as soon as like a tandem would go by, it's like, all right, track is cold, time to run. Like I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
like that's this. I'm like waiting to be yelled at by Kevin, which is like the Club Loose media guy. So like that was different. So ultimately, like, yeah, I wish it like more cars got sent faster, but at the same time, the freedom of like being able to do cooler shoots or cooler shots and things like that. And yeah, Malik says, wish they had a live stream. I think some local dudes did set up a live stream.
They
Obviously
had
it wasn't.
drones too. I was
Yeah,
disappointed.
they had drones, which I think were connected to whoever was running the live stream. I'm sure that if you like searched up LZ World Tour on YouTube, you would have maybe found something, but it wasn't, an LZ sponsored stream, or it
Right.
wasn't like an
Right.
E-Town sponsored stream. It was just some dudes doing it for the love of the game, like
Right.
how we
Right.
do it during practice at
Mhm.
Formula D. So,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
but yeah, 10 out of 10. I mean, shit. It's cool it's just cool to see the place that like for where I began shooting and like my first events of drifting ever other than FD. All these people just filling the grandstands, and then just like having all of this like this cool spectating section right on the track, and like I
Yeah.
couldn't even get up to like the fence like to see through it, but
Yep.
like if you could, I was like, that is like a way cooler spot than I've ever seen on this track. I'm like, that is
Totally.
cool. So I hope that they come back. I hope that they do it again. I hope the turnout was good enough. I hate all the losers outside of like when they're leaving the event and they're doing all these stupid donuts out there.
Yeah.
There was a video that went viral of a dude that tried manjiing the straight road, and he
Ugh.
lost control in his 350 and tanked the whatchamacallit, the telephone
Yeah,
pole.
the light pole. And
Yeah.
don't even get me started on that because like I was right at the gate the whole event. The behavior of spectators, like guys, if you want to come shred at the track, most of your local tracks have like open days or you can take a lesson. Like not only do people think you're annoying, you risk getting us all you give us a bad name, you risk getting us in trouble, and you look hella stupid. like the
Yeah.
350Z guy. Like, don't do that.
Chris Knapp has now offered that kid a free day of lessons.
Yeah, because he needs it.
Yeah.
I have all the smoke for like anybody doing shit on the street, bro, because it's just making our sport look bad. So
When I went to leave, there were 3 different cars that were lined up, like waiting to do their turns of donuts before they left. I literally just passed everybody on the right, got to the stop,
Yeah.
and went through their little donut,
yeah,
ass banging fest of what they call
I
a
like
cool
to
time.
roll down the window and go, "Does the bank know what you're doing to their car?"
Nice, that's a good one.
Oh
Thank
man.
Very
you. You
good.
can use it if you want. It's very
I might.
effective.
I
Yeah.
might.
It's just silly, honestly.
It is.
It's like, okay, really? Like, you have a
Yeah.
beautiful facility here, and you're just gonna go do that? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
they must think that like Adam's gonna come out and be like, "Oh my god, what a great job you're doing! Like, please come in my event." When in reality, everyone is like, "You look dumb as hell."
I mean, not for nothing, the amount of dudes that, like, when they were leaving, drove by and they revved their stuff, I didn't pack enough underwear for how many times I finished because of how
Yeah.
cool that
A little just like
That had-
it's like, okay, sick. Your car's sick. You're sick. You're being
That's-
respectful. I love you.
No, like when they rev it out, that gets me going. Let me tell you. Like I said, I had to change my undies a few times. I was just fucking
oh my god.
all over the place. Could have started a factory out here.
Oh, all
No,
right.
you're
So
all losers.
We
Sorry.
do have a couple more questions we need to get to in the chat here. We'll do these quick though. Celine Drift, how do you get to drive at the tour? You need to know people and you need to be invited.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no other way around it.
Yep.
Get a social
I would argue that LZ is harder to drive for than FD because FD you earn a license, you go into the series. Adam's thing is like invite only, the coolest of the cool, the people with the biggest following. So unless you're about to get 1 million on YouTube, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, not really a feasible way, but maybe
Yeah.
someday you'll get a chance. All right. Yogi on getting kicked out in 2019. Let's go. I'll make it short. We used to run the car show for FD back in 2009. We were guiding cars into the car show from the other side of the paddock, and the car that was way too low ran over the lines of the stream. I remember he told me that story, and then Mr. Andy Luck got very upset about that.
As he should.
As he should. Yep.
We're all going to jail.
We're all going to jail. Yeah, that's great. Jamari asks, thoughts on Carter Shanahan back in the familiar chassis? We did have a really good section on that with Travis Reeder. I suggest you go check it out. But he wasn't too confident because he thinks he went into a worse chassis because you can't rely on the tires as much here in FD as you do in Drift Masters. I tend to agree with him. I'm also worried that it's a brand new car, and when you build a brand new car, there are always gremlins. So I think he's gonna rip, but I think there's gonna be problems this year. So I'm really up in the air with Connor. I know most people are gonna assume he's competing for a championship. I wouldn't go that far. I
will say though, real quick, I think his car looks sick. I know there's no design on it or anything, but I don't know what it was, but the GT radial on the back of that was the chunkiest GT I have ever seen in on any car. I don't know. Again, could have been like the illusion, like maybe it's a skinnier tire or a skinnier rim with a big tire on there. But when I was like, if it doesn't work out, you can go to Monster Truck because that thing is huge. Like that is sick. That is so cool to me.
Exactly. Yeah. Malik asks, what are future changes or improvements you're planning to implement into the channel? Hopefully a bunch of cool stuff. That's hopefully what we record. But as far as the live stream stuff, we're gonna do the same stuff. We're gonna try and do maybe some morning interviews and stuff, and kind of
sleep streams.
Yeah, some different streams that are talking and not just driving. again, we have to work out a schedule and all this kind of stuff. It really depends on the event. Some events start at 6:30 in the morning, so it's going to be tough to do something before the event there. But other events don't start till 10, and then it's like, oh, okay, so we got some time. But
Maybe we do that, Nate, at the events. We set up the live stream when we go to bed. We do the sleep streams. Like
Yeah, and they can wake us up.
Yeah, they donate
For money.
by playing.
Sirens go off in the room.
Yeah, we do it for the first round. We're with Simon. They can't sleep either. He loses the entire year because he totals the car because he has 0 sleep.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so we're definitely going to plan on trying to do some more talking stuff. A lot of it's still kind of up in the air. Just seeing how the year goes. I know, like, for example, when we're going to be, Herbie and I will be at Long Beach on Wednesday with not a whole lot to do probably. So we'll probably go live and do like interviews with drivers throughout the day or something like that. Get you guys all up to speed in Long Beach.
We'll be there Tuesday, right?
Yeah, we'll be there Tuesday, but that's media day. So I assume we're allowed to be live for media day.
We'll just ask when we get there.
But we're gonna be kind of playing it by ear on that. 'Cause a lot of the stuff this year. But yeah, the plan is definitely to do some more driver like stuff and team stuff on the live stream side. Next is where there was some more questions, and I'm trying to. What are future improvements? There was a thoughts on Jack Shanahan. I think he's gonna rip once he figures the car out. I don't know how many events it's gonna take to do that. That's my thing on him.
I agree.
Yeah, I want to see how he does. He's like I don't like that people are lumping him in just because he's a Shanahan. I want to see him prove himself and stand on his own feet in FD. So I'm gonna wait and see.
For me,
I'm sure he's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I had him in the 10 to 15 range probably for finishing this year. I think he's gonna have 1 or 2 killer rounds. I think he's gonna have a couple mediocre rounds just from, and then I'm not sure how the start of the season is gonna go. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Hell yeah.
Fair enough.
Let's see. I need it on Apple and Spotify. I kind of looked at it and then I got busy and
Nate gets afraid of Discord. It's gonna take him a little while to figure that out.
I'm special needs when it, believe it or not, I'm pretty special needs when it comes to technology, as Herbie knows, and doing some of this stuff. I have kind of been, I had a lot planned and then baby stuff happened as well. So there was some things going on personally, and I'll just put it at that for now. But we're back to normal now for the most part.
Yes. What cars are you guys running for the Daily Driver Drift team?
Well,
whatever anybody wants to give me.
Exactly. You got that Jeep Liberty, baby.
Compass.
Okay.
Heavy on the
Compass.
Really light on the piss.
Oh man.
That's right.
Fucking A. All right, guys.
Come for a ride one time.
I think on the compass, we'll go ahead and end that. Just kidding.
Yeah. It's already
You always
degenerated.
know which way is north, whichever is pointing.
That's what she said.
Yeah. All right, guys. I want to thank everyone for being in the stream. We had over 60 people at one point. Like I appreciate everyone coming on. This year's we're gonna have a lot of fun this year. We're gonna try and do streams Tuesday after the event as well, same time, to do like a little recap after the stream. Maybe bring on a driver that drove it or something like that. Have some fun. But again, we're gonna try and give you as much coverage as we can. Obviously, we still got our regular jobs we got to do, but again, thank you everyone for hanging out, supporting.